I built a $40 million personal brand by mastering one thing: being memorable. I went from delivering pizza to being a known name in my industry, even though I was in a super crowded market. And in this video, I'm gonna give you my system to being remembered in your content, your conversations, and your business. Think of all the hours you've spent creating content that didn't work, or the powerful people you may have met but didn't call you back because they didn't remember you. That is costing you millions. And by the end of this video, that stops. So the first secret to being remembered is don't speak, paint. Think of the 7 billion people on this planet. Now, if I said, hey, to the average person, would you rather watch a movie or would you rather read a book? Which one would the average person choose? They would choose the movie. Of course, they'd say, oh, I'll be in and out in 2 hours. I'll watch the movie. But have you ever asked yourself why that is? Like really mechanically in the brain, why that happens? It's because it takes less energy to watch a movie than it does to read a book, because human beings think in pictures. So let's try a little exercise. If I say, hey, close your eyes and imagine a hot fudge sundae. Do you see an image of a banana and ice cream and chocolate in a bowl? Or do you see the words hot fudge sundae? Of course, you see the image. That's because human beings think in pictures. If you've ever said, oh, I can't see myself doing that, that's because you can't see yourself doing that. Human beings think in pictures. And so see, the TV creates the pictures. The human doesn't have to think of them. Whereas in the book, you have to think of the pictures. So it requires more brain energy to create the pictures yourself than to just watch them. And so when you are communicating with someone, the more you leave it up to them to paint the picture of what's in your mind, the more brain energy it takes and the more exhausting it is to listen to you. And look, isn't that what we're trying to do? We have an idea, we have a vision, and we want other people to see it. But if we don't do a good job painting the picture of what we see, they're not going to see the same image. So how do you paint rather than speak? Well, here's 3 ways to communicate so people can see what you say. Number 1, actually paint. Take a pen and draw it. I have here drawn a simple TV image and a book image. Now, there wasn't really much to that, but it still required less brain power from you to watch me pointing to these. So you don't have to be an artist. There's a famous book called Draw to Win that explains how to communicate your ideas with simple drawings. And believe me, all of the drawings in the book are frickin' ugly. It doesn't matter. It just helps them get it. So one time I had a client who was considering investing $50,000 with us for consulting. And I told him what we would do for him. And I said, here's our idea. And he didn't quite get it. And so I grabbed this notebook. It was just some random notebook laying around. I grabbed a pen. I said, okay, look. And I drew it out. And when I drew it out, he was like, oh, I get it. And he's like this is these stupid doodle drawings, this is ugly as sin. And he's pointing to them. He's like, oh, so this, okay, so we're gonna do this. And okay, and then this. And then he grabs the pen and he starts drawing. And next thing you know, boom, $50,000 client landed. Why? Because he got what I was saying. How did he get what I was saying? I drew it for him. Get the book Draw to Win. It's an amazing book. It'll teach you how to illustrate your ideas. Number 2, use actual descriptive language. Do not say, I bought a red car. Say, I bought a shiny red car. And the morning that I bought it, it had wet dew and the sun hit the car and I could just see those lines shimmer down the car. And it was the most amazing cherry red that I had ever seen. Someone is more likely to remember your cherry red Corvette than your red Corvette. Adjectives are a beautiful thing. And the 3rd way is tell a story. Even if you have facts and data to present, do it in a way that tells a story. For instance, I could have simply told you to draw shit, but I told you the story of a time I landed a client because I drew shit. Quick story time, Walt Disney, when he first had the idea for Disney World, could not get funding from the banks because at the time, there was no such thing as a theme park. So when he was explaining his idea to the bank, they didn't get it. They're like, characters, like, this sounds like a dangerous circus. I'm not going to invest in this. So he went to his friend who was an artist and he said, you know what? We've been trying to explain the idea of Disney World with facts and figures and just words. So can you draw me a map of what's in my head? And he sat down with his friend and he drew an actual map of Disney World. It had the rides, it had the little pass where the restaurant were, it had children, it had like the whole concept. He goes back to the bank and he shows them the map of Disney World. And they finally got it. Why? Because they could see it. And now, because of that one drawing, we have Disney World, we have Disneyland, Disney Plus, Star Wars. Even though that was Lucasfilm at first, I know, but new Star Wars movies, which are... But the point is you have a multi-billion-dollar company from that one map. Okay, so next, now that you know how to make it easier on someone to listen to your ideas, how do you structure what you say? Well, every single communication has 3 parts. I know that sounds incredibly simple and obvious, but most people don't really understand every communication has 3 parts: a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, in the social media world, you might think, oh, it's the hook, and then it's the value, and then it's the call to action. But this is a framework that's been around way before the internet or even electricity. And it goes something like this. In the first part, we get attention. Then we want to keep attention. And then we want to make an ask. So whether it's a conversation at a conference where someone stops and actually listens to you, or it's an Instagram reel where someone stops the scroll, or it's a YouTube video where someone clicks and keeps watching, the very beginning of your communication is meant to get attention. Because if you get that attention, now you have the opportunity to keep it. And what do we do when we keep it? What are we actually doing in the middle part of this content? Well, we're presenting an idea. We have some sort of idea, some sort of thought in our head that we want to present. And here's how you actually present an idea well so that somebody will listen and get it. First, only try to present one idea. Do not have multiple ideas because they're not going to remember it. They're not going to get it. It's going to be overwhelming. And even if they're all good ideas, they're not going to walk away with anything. Instead, do it like this. You have your main idea, and then underneath that, you have multiple sub-ideas that simply support the main idea. So I'll give you an example. This entire video, I'm telling you, if you want to be successful, you have to be memorable. That's the whole idea, right? So the sub-ideas are, hey, here's how to communicate so you're less exhausting on people. Hey, here's how to structure what you say in a certain way. All of these points I'm making, all of these multi-ideas all converge to the main idea is here's how to be memorable. If you try to mix up too many ideas, people are just going to get confused. Keep it to one idea. And by the way, if you have an idea and it's that complex, it's probably not a good idea. Another tip for communicating your ideas is say it at a 5th or 6th grade reading level. I'm sure you know by now that Donald Trump won the presidency twice, and the second time he won after going to jail. So the dude's pretty good at communicating. But what is interesting is not what his ideas are, because his ideas are the same. Every 4 years, there's 2 people, and they always say the same thing. One side says lower taxes, one side says higher taxes. One side says keep the immigrants, the other side says kick the immigrants out. One side says this religious thing can't be a thing, the other one says make it a religious thing. Regulation, deregulation. It's the same stuff every 4 years, but the person that wins is the person that communicates those same regurgitated ideas in a better way. And so Hillary Clinton, when she ran against Trump, her average campaign speech read at a 12th grade reading level. So whether her ideas were good or not, nobody understood them. Whereas Trump, his average campaign speech read at a 2nd or 3rd grade reading level. So whether they were good or bad ideas, everyone understood them. Example, hey Donald, how are you going to solve immigration? I'll build a wall. Hey Donald, how are you going to stop Iran? I'll bomb the shit out of them. And he did. The point is, it's easy to understand the ideas because it's simple. The most influential people in the world use small words to convey big ideas. So here is how you make your ideas simple. Go to ChatGPT and type out your big, complicated idea, and then simply say, rewrite this at a reading level of 5th grade. It's going to spit your idea back out very simple. Then you just have to memorize what it said and start communicating that idea like that from now on. This is how you keep attention. And so, once you have kept the attention, you've presented your idea, it's simple, people get it, then you have now earned the right to make an ask. Now, the funny thing is, this entire system is based on earning the next step after the previous step. So first we earn the right to present our idea, then we earn the right to make an ask because our idea was good. So what is the ask? Well, if you're at a conference, it may be, hey, can I get your phone number? If you're doing a YouTube video, it might be, hey, click the link in the description to get this thing or to apply to work with us. If it's a Instagram reel, it might be something like comment this word to get this free resource, or to DM me so I can sell you shit. Or if you don't have an ask, then the ask should be to be remembered. And how do you do that? That brings me to my next point. Years ago, I paid $50,000 to a speaking coach, and he taught me a concept that changed my life. It's called speaking in sound bites. And what that means is, when you speak, you're gonna get attention, you're gonna keep attention, but at the end, most people are simply not gonna remember everything you said. So if you end the communication with a sound bite, something, a phrase, a memorable, easy to quote phrase that wraps up the entire idea, it not only makes it easier for them to remember what you said because the entire point is repeatable in one quote, but they quote you. They start saying, hey, Dan Henry said that. Dan Henry said this. And it's funny, I think about all the people that I follow, that I've been mentored from, and I think I can quote them. Even though I hate paying this man, Mark Zuckerberg said a great quote that I always think of, and that is, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. Marie Forleo said, start before you're ready. Walt Disney said, all of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And that's the thing. Part of building a personal brand and being memorable is being quotable. So you have to learn how to wrap up your communication in a simple soundbite that people can repeat, quote, and remember. For instance, the quote that I love to be known by is, you will never be broke if you know what to say. I believe in this so much that I have it as a piece of art on my wall because I believe in it so much. Every amazing thing that has happened in my life, it happened because I was able to communicate an idea or get someone to understand me. And every terrible thing that happens to me to this day is usually when I cannot get someone to understand me or understand what I'm trying to say. Communication is a skill that will absolutely change your life, and you will never be broke if you know what to say. Now, you may be wondering, how do you take these concepts and actually put them into, say, an Instagram reel that'll make you money? Well, I just created a case study on how I made $125,000 in sales from one Instagram reel. In this PDF case study, you will see the reel, you'll see how I generated over 3,000 email leads from it, and exactly what I said, how I structured it, why it worked, and how we ended up making roughly 125 grand from one frickin' video. I'll leave a link to that case study in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.